Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. Jeffrey Resendez is already here. He has been here since 7:28, so if there's a prize to win, he would win it. BDF is here. Hello. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. All right. So, what I'm going to do real fast is we're going to go over some Disney history for today. Today is September 19th. So while everyone kind of gets into the chat and gets into the live stream, we're going to do some today in Disney history. So I'm going to run through that really fast just to let everyone get settled into the live stream. Today in Disney history in 1927, Disney releases the second Oswald cartoon called Oh Teacher. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to read my notes too, so you may see my eyes walk away from the screen. Yes, big Disney fan. That's what I thought. 1928, actor Adam West was born today. So he was in the Chicken Little movie. He was also in Meet the Robinsons. And he also had a minor voice role on the Disney Channel movie or Disney Channel show, Kim Possible. So I didn't know that. I found that out the other day. 1949, this day in 1949, recording started for the Cinderella movie. So I thought that was really interesting. So I wore my Cinderella shirt today just for that. So in 1966, Walt Disney gives what would have been his last press conference. So that's kind of sad news. But he ended up giving a press conference about things that he wanted to happen in the park. And unfortunately, those things never happened because of his death. So they retracted what they had planned and what he was talking about in his press conference. This day in 1989, the Library of Congress selects Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs to be placed on the National Film Registry. So I thought that was super cool. I don't really know what the National Film Registry is, but it seems like that's super cool if the Library of Congress selected it. So that's really cool. And then this one, probably my favorite news of the day. This date in 1995, Season 5 of Home Improvement kicked off. Home Improvement had Tim Allen in it and Jonathan Taylor Thomas, who voiced the younger Lion King, or Simba in Lion King. And I absolutely love Home Improvement. So that's crazy to me that it started Season 5 that late. I would have thought it would have been like the first season or something. So that was interesting news to me. All right, guys, it looks like there's some people getting in on the chat and some people that are watching the stream. So let's go ahead and jump in. I want to kind of make this a fast live stream. I know my other ones I tried to make fast. They didn't really go too fast. But Will and I just got back on Monday afternoon from Disney World. And we were there 4 days in the park and about 5 days-ish in Orlando with the half days that we had flying in and out. We were there about 5.5 days. So I'm going to kind of go over what it was like to fly. And obviously not all of you are going to fly out of Dallas Love Field. But I just kind of want to give you like a little information about what it was to fly there during COVID, what it was like to be in the parks during COVID, and what it was like to ride the Disney transportation systems during COVID. We rode 3 Disney transportations, so we kind of have some insight on what it was like being there. So flying, obviously I just said we flew out of Dallas Love Field, which is a smaller airport in Dallas. We don't like to fly out of the big one. They did require masks the entire time as you're walking into the airport, as you are in the airport, and as you are on the plane, unless you are actively eating or drinking while sitting down in your chair or in a chair in the airport. I thought this was super cool. So Dallas Love Field did this, but Orlando International Airport did not do this. As we walked through the TSA check line, we had to take our hats off and they just scanned our bodies for our body temperatures. And I thought that was really cool. So they did check our temperatures at Dallas Love Field, but they did not at Orlando International Airport. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So when you are at the TSA check and you have to hand your boarding pass and your ID to the TSA person that is sitting there at the table, they do require you just to take off your mask really fast so they can check your whole facial profile to your ID, which helped my anxiety level with flying because I was like, how do they know like who these people are flying? Well, they check your full facial profile and then make you put your mask back on before going through security check. So the flight was really empty. Will and I were actually the last people to board, even though we were in boarding group A. They started boarding when we were in line to get food, but we were the last people on, and we still got a seat right on the wing of the plane. And again, the middle seats are left empty, and so a lot of people, it was just one of them traveling. So actually the 2 seats were empty out of the 3 that were on one section. So the plane was very empty. They were not serving their full menu. You can ask for non-alcoholic beverages or alcoholic beverages, coffee, tea, stuff like that. They weren't serving their entire menu. You were given a snack, which we got like little graham crackers, and then you were given ice water only if you wanted it. I didn't see a lot of people with the ice water. A lot of people brought on their own drinks to the plane, as Will and I did. So flying, not bad at all. Even with my anxiety of flying, wasn't bad at all. It was a quick flight. Everyone was super nice on the plane. That's why we fly Southwest. We love Southwest. So, and this is not a paid advertisement for Southwest. We just love Southwest. So, but flying went great. We did have trouble flying out of Orlando. It seemed like they, maybe they were all sad they weren't at Disney World there. I don't know. But here, it was great. All right. So, I'm sorry, I have my notes just to make sure. Did I catch everything that we did? Okay, so we checked into the resort on an app before we even got to Orlando. I think we checked in just a couple days early. Maybe even up to a week early. Will checked us in. So you check in on the app now. So you do contactless check-in so that when you get to Orlando, they have your room number and the section that you're staying in the app. So obviously your Magic Band is already set up with your room number. So we just scanned our bands and walked right in and everything was set up for us. So that was actually super cool that we did not have to wait in line because the last time we went, we had to wait in line to check in with our bags and everything too. So this made it like a really fast process of checking in. So that is some good that has come from COVID. We liked that. So, when we landed, we had to get our own bags this time and walk to the Magical Express. Normally, the Magical Express is in charge of getting your luggage to the bus and off the bus. But this time, we had to carry our own bags. When you check in, they scan your bands to the Magical Express. They check to make sure they have your Jillian, your Will, you're going to Pop Century, and you're flying out on this day. So they want to check to make sure everything is good to go. The sign said it was about a 45-minute wait till the next bus. But for us, I think we waited 20 to 30 minutes max. And then when you board the bus, a man comes over with a rolly desk and a computer. He scans your Magic Band. He says, "Hi, Jillian, welcome. You're going to Pop Century." And then he shows you where to sit on the bus. So we were the first people in line, so we had to go all the way back to the back of the bus to sit. And they were seating on like one row. They would start at the very front seat, and they would skip 2 rows of seats. So they were seating every 2 rows. But then on the other side, they had to make sure they were maintaining that 6-foot distance too on the other side of the bus. So the bus Good morning, Karki. Good morning. Welcome in. Welcome in. We are talking about our trip. I know on Tuesday they talked a little bit about it, but I was not there. So we're talking about checking into the resort and getting on the Magical Express right now. So welcome in. So anyway, they've got to do the every 2 rows to maintain that physical distancing. And then our stop was Pop Century, and we were the first stop. So it was about a 30-minute ride, 40-minute ride. They tell you be prepared to be on as long as an hour and a half, though. So if you're the last resort, you could be on the bus for an hour and a half. So when we arrived, we were already checked in through the app. So we just went right up to our room. We didn't go in anywhere else. We just went right up to our room, scanned our magic bands, and we got right in. So there was coffee, tea, a coffee pot, and a refrigerator in our room. And then when you check into a resort, they give you a little refillable mug too. So you pay for the mug, but we refilled it, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 times a day. So it comes in handy at the end of your trip. So this was interesting to me. They don't offer room service daily. You can request that room service be done every 2 days or at the very end of your trip, meaning they don't come in your room at all. They completely service the room once you have left for your flight home. So Will and I decided to have them service our room every 2 days or every other day. This only meant that they would restock the soap bar, the bar of soap. They would take the trash out, and they would restock the coffee and tea situation. Yes, refillable mugs are $19.99 each. Pays for itself because at Disney you can spend up to $7.99 on 1 cup of Coke. So it pays for itself. So they did not come in and change the sheets or change the pillows or wash the towels. They only restocked things and took the trash out. So that is something you may want to know if in case you are planning a trip, which I know a couple of people are planning trips, or they should already be on their trips right now or on their way to Disney World. All right. So this is a very important one to touch on, I feel like. Will and I went into this not really knowing what the transportation was going to be like. We didn't really research that. So due to COVID, the lines for the bus and Skyliner, they look very long, and they get very long because of social distancing guidelines that are going on. But they are very long as well, and we'll talk about why in a little bit. We got in line an hour early for Magic Kingdom, and honestly, we could have gotten in line a little bit earlier because the line was long. It was wrapped all the way around, like the Pop Century sign. I mean, it was long. But once the buses started showing up, it did go really, really fast. Big Disney fan. You heard they're bringing back dining options. I really hope so. Really hope so. But the lines, they went fast once the transportation system started working. But we still were in line for rope drop every day we were in the parks. So we did it right, I would say. We were in line for Animal Kingdom about 45 minutes before the bus started running, and the buses start running 45 minutes before park opens. Now, I would say Magic Kingdom Day, they started running the buses maybe an hour early, hour 15 early, but I think it's because they have people monitoring the bus situation, and they know how long the lines are getting. Hello, Raleigh Creative Travels. Good morning. Welcome in. So we waited about 45 minutes before Animal Kingdom. We still arrived at park open. And what they're doing is they're letting y'all go into the park. They're not holding you in one spot. They don't want everyone in one spot. So they allowed us to walk into the park and get in line for a ride. And then the ride, the line to the Skyliner, you really needed to be in line for the Skyliner a good hour, hour and a half before they started running the Skyliner, especially depending on where you are staying and where your destination is. And I say that because we were staying at Pop. So the Skyliner took us from Pop to another resort. We had to get off, and then we had to get in another line. But if you were already at that resort that took you straight into Hollywood Studios, you didn't have to get off and back on in line. So you really want to watch the Skyliner route. Where is it going to drop you off? Do you have to get out of line? Do you have to get back in line? That kind of stuff. So we were in line the first day, maybe an hour early, and we were way back in line. Still went really fast. So the next day we got there maybe an hour 15, hour 30 before they started running the Skyliner, and we were way up front. So that really helped with waiting in line, being hot outside. So the Skyliner runs at 9 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Every day that we were there. The buses started to run 45 minutes before the park opened, before, Magic Kingdom opened, before Animal Kingdom opened, and they all open at different times, so you've got to watch the times that they open. And then they stopped running an hour after park closed. I think some of them really ran an hour and a half after park closed just to make sure that everyone was out of the park safely. Good morning, Recharging with Disney. Welcome in. I'm talking about visiting the parks during our trip that we just took. So, Blaine says, question about Virtual Queue and Rise of the Resistance in Hollywood. Says they have 2 shows, 10 and 2. So does that mean if we do not hit the 10 a.m., we will be able to make it? Okay, Blaine, I'll answer this for you really fast before finishing up the transportation. Really, honestly and truly, you have to be in the park before 10 a.m. and you need to get on at 10 a.m. If you want to ride. You have to. And I'm going to tell you this because both days that we rode Rise of the Resistance twice, and both times that we rode it, it kept going down. And I think the last day that we were at Hollywood Studios, they didn't even board at 2:00 p.m. because they were so backed up from the 10 o'clock one, and then the ride went down. You have to try to get on at 10 a.m., which means Will and I were in the park at 9:30. We were in line for a ride. We closed out all of our apps. We refreshed our phones. We got off Disney Wi-Fi. And at 10 a.m. on the dot, boom, join the queue. And every member in your family try to do it because when Will did it, it worked. My phone kept going down. It wasn't working. So, Blaine, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Now, if the ride doesn't go down, they'll start getting boarding groups in at 2, but I highly doubt they'll get to the end of the boarding groups, to be honest. All right, so Skyliner, like Will said, Skyliner, I'm sorry, there's a bug. Jeez. Skyliner started running 9 to 8:30 p.m. Buses 45 minutes before park open, an hour after park closed is when they stopped running. So they loaded the bus. This is very interesting for everyone. Keep this in mind. They loaded the bus by party and by section of the bus. I think Dawn is in Hitchhiking Bones. Will sometimes uses that and sometimes he doesn't. So hi, Dawn. I think she's in. Okay, so when I mean they load by sections, this is kind of how they have it. So if you've been on a Disney bus before, you know you can just walk in, sit, or stand wherever. Now they have every couple seats are blocked off by plexiglass sneeze guards, is what I was told that they were called, as sneeze guards. And so they have stickers, like little stickers about this big, with numbers on the seats. And so what they would do is they would stop you and say, hi, how many are in your party? We always said 2. And then they would say, all right, you are in section number 4. So that meant you had to walk into the bus and find the stickers with the number 4 on it. You sat down in the section that said number 4. Now, normally there would be 4 or 5 chairs in that section, but there's only 2 of us. So as you can imagine, they're not filling the bus because of that. They want you to stay your party in between the plexiglass sneeze guards. Obviously, you can't maintain a 6-foot distance on a bus unless they only put you in the front and the back. So that's kind of how they did that. Now, as Will and I talked about, we actually kind of liked that because normally we would get on a bus and we're standing there after being in the park for 14 hours and our feet are hurting and we're rocking all over and people are all on us. So I'm not going to say that that was a bad thing, to be honest. I don't think it was a bad thing at all. Will and I kind of liked that aspect about it, that we weren't standing rocking around on the bus. So there were some good aspects that came out of the social distancing. And so we rode the monorail one time. It seems like the monorail is not your best means of transportation right now. They're only seating 1 family per section. They do have sneeze guards up because, one train has probably or one section of the train, car of the train, has 4 seats and 2 seats back up to each other, and you're sitting, like this. Well, they have a sneeze guard in between that, and only 1 family sits in each row. So again, you're not standing up, you're not crowded in there. And thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you. I think that means you're leaving. Thank you for hopping on. We appreciate it so much. Make sure to like this video, repost it if you can, and I'm sure you have that bell rung. So we only rode the monorail once, and we rode it because it was our best means of transportation to get to the Contemporary Resort where we ate at California Grill. So again, it was very, very empty, and this is where we ran into another YouTuber, Serena Ray. So that was really cool. But the monorail wasn't running to Epcot. It seemed to only be doing the Magic Kingdom route, I guess you could say, to all the resorts. That was really, if you wanted to get to a resort, that was your best means of transportation. Other than that, they were making you get on the Skyliner to go to Epcot. I think it's because, honestly, they're using all of their buses to transport people to Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studio. Well, no, not even Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom. So that's another, if you're planning on going to Disney, just X out monorail unless you are staying on the Magic Kingdom resort route right there. So, yeah, that was transportation, honestly, worked really well. Nothing was late. They were cranking buses like crazy because they knew the social distancing, and then the lines were long. So honestly, it went really, really, really well. Just you have to make sure that you're in line early, or else you may not get at parks at rope drop, which to us, the most important park to get to was Hollywood Studios for the Rise of the Resistance line queue. That was the most important park to get there at rope drop for us, at least. If you're not wanting to ride that ride, we heard that it's so hectic in the morning, wait an hour after park opens to kind of get on the buses and stuff like that. So if you're not wanting to be there at rope drop and you want to miss the craziness, wait an hour and a half. Will and I, with the shortened hours right now, we wanted to hit everything and get there really fast. So, and literally be there from park open to park close. Yes, Will, I think I said that. If you're staying at Pop Century, you can only take the Skyliner to Hollywood Studios and Epcot. And Another tip that we learned too is that if you want to go to downtown Disney, you cannot, and I repeat, you cannot go to Disney Springs, downtown Disney, whatever you want to call it, from the parks. You have to ride a bus to a resort and then get out of line and get online for Disney Springs. So Disney Springs had some really long lines too, really long lines. And we heard Pop Century is kind of crowded right now. And I'm sure people who want to get to Disney Springs were just going to resorts they weren't even staying at to get in line to go use a bus to Disney Springs. So interesting, I know. All right, so this is what everyone wants to know, I'm sure. How was the screening process? Hello, I think that's Tina, right? Tina McNeil. I'm trying to learn everyone's names, so I think that's who that is. All right, so screening and bag check lines to the park. Were they crazy, guys? Absolutely not. Congratulations to Disney for really stepping up your game and getting people through these lines. We were scared, actually, about the temperature check lines. Not crazy at all. So once you arrive to the park destination, they have the tents pretty close to the bus line or the monorail line. And so what you do is you just get off your transportation system and you go straight to the tent. You basically just walk right through. They want you to keep your party together. So there were like 3 or 4 people taking temps, but they asked you keep your party together. They just scanned you really fast and we walked right in. Dawn, so what we did is we rode the bus to Magic Kingdom, and instead of walking to the Contemporary Resort for California Grill, we got off the bus and got on the monorail, and the monorail stopped at California Grill. That was the first stop. So it was really easy. The last time we went, we like had to run in the rain in high heels to get to our resort. Or get to the California Grill. Hey, JLB Nerdy. Thank you so much. Yes, watch the replay, please. Please, that does not hurt our feelings at all. I know, Tina, I'm sorry. Maybe I'll start being on the Tuesday night streams. My schedule went back to normal, so I'm not working super early in the morning anymore. So anyway, walking through the temperature check lines, stay with your party, scan you, you're good. Will and I never, ever had to cool off, which I was really worried about. But if you're riding the transportation systems, you're in the air conditioning, you get off, that's your first thing that you do is take your temperature. Then you walk through bag check. Surprisingly, this went really fast. Will always got held up because he has a lot of, he had the gimbal, he had a battery pack, he had 2 battery packs actually. So he always got held up because of that. But I always was able to walk straight through and I was fine. I got stopped one time. Good morning, Steamboat Disney. Good morning. Welcome in. Welcome in. Yeah, I'm sorry. Our picture quality is probably not the best because Spectrum has some issues out here lately. So I'm sorry. Please bear with us. So bag check went really fast. The next stop is they scanned your band to get in. They did not scan your finger. So somebody brought up a good point, and I think it was Will brought up a point. He said, how do they know that that's really your magic band? Okay, good point. I noticed, though, that the cast members that were standing there watching you walk in, they had like a little iPhone-looking thing, and as you scanned your bands, they were looking at it. And I kind of wondered, maybe something is on that tells them who we are. I don't know. But, normally the fingerprint lets them know you are who you say you are, and this is your magic band, so that if you lose your magic band, somebody can't get into the parks. I don't know how they do that. If anybody knows or anybody has a theory, please drop that suggestion in the comments. I would love to know what your theories are on that. But anyway, the process to getting into the parks was super, super fast. Disney's killing it with that. So don't let that make you nervous or slow you down. It doesn't slow you down at all. They crank you through really fast. All right. See, I wanted to keep this to a 30-minute stream, and guess what, guys? I still have more to talk about. Crazy. This is why I needed like a 3-hour show. I could just talk forever. So in the parks, and I'm going to preface all of this by saying Will and I, when they first announced the parks were opening, but you had to wear a face covering, Will and I were like, no. We were like, we don't want to go to the parks with a face covering on. And we were very against it at first. Maybe more so me than Will was, but I was very against it. I was like, I'm going to wait until things go back to normal. I'm not going. That's what I thought. Obviously, my views on that changed a little bit, obviously. But of course, when you are in Disney, you have to have an actual face mask on. The one that, covers your nose, your mouth, your chin, and it goes around your ears. They do not let you in with bandanas or the face gaiters. The gaiters are the ones that come all the way up on your whole face. They do not allow those, which actually I've heard the gaiters don't keep anything in or out. So I can see why they don't allow those. So if you wanted to wear a face shield, you also had to wear a mask. So the face shields are the clear plastic things that go over your face. They really protect your eyes more so than anything. And I've heard mixed reviews on how COVID can get into your eyes. So I saw a couple people either wearing like goggles or the face shield with the mask, but you had to have your mask on at all times. That was not optional. So there were markings on the ground to tell you where to stand in line to maintain your social distancing. So when you were in the line queues, there were these big strips. They said, please stand here, maintain social distancing, stuff like that. And they knew lines were going to be long because of that. So they continued them on down, even outside of the line queues. Saw something about your mask needing to have 2 layers of fabric. Yeah, and most of mine did have 2 layers because they were the Disney masks. One of mine I bought on Etsy, and it had 1 layer, and then it had another layer for you to put a filter in. So I guess that counts. I think as long as you had a face covering on. Now, there were a lot of people in surgical masks that were wearing a mask over the surgical mask. So I don't know if that was their preference. I don't know. So again, social distancing was on the ground in any line that you stood in, including the line we stood in to get our Leota sipper here. She does light up. So any line that you were standing in, you were going to have to maintain those social distancing marks on the ground. Which, again, like Will said, not a bad thing. You're in line for a ride. Normally you have kids standing up against you, rubbing on you, knocking you over. So was it a bad thing? Absolutely not. Not to me. I didn't feel like it was a bad thing. All the interactive items in the line queues were shut down to kind of eliminate the spread of germs. Obviously, if you touch a lot of stuff, and then everyone else touches it. And kids, they like to lick their hands, touch things. So, 7 Doors Mine Train I can think of. You have the barrels that you turn there and they, put the gems on the ceiling. That was shut down. Now, did people still touch it? Yeah, they did. So, some people don't follow rules very well. The line queues have the sneeze guard plexiglass in the tighter areas to help with social distancing. There's obviously going to be times when you're in line, like Big Thunder Mountain, you come into that small little section before you board the train, you're all shoved in there. They have the sneeze guards protecting you from the other line. Yeah, most cast members are wearing a face mask and a face shield. Not all of them, but most of them are. So I think that may have been like a Disney, please, please, please wear both. But again, if somebody sneezes on you and that gets in your eye, that's kind of gross too. So I bet that's why they're wearing both. You saw most of them wearing the face mask and face shield at restaurants, more so than anywhere else around the park. Okay, so there are relaxation areas where you can take your mask off, enjoy a moment of fresh air. Did Will and I use these? No, we didn't. We found it very easy to continue on through our day with a mask on, even though it was raining and we were hot and sweaty. It was easy. It wasn't. In fact, there were several times I tried to go take a drink or put my popcorn in my mouth and my mask was on. I completely forgot it was there. So if you're used to wearing a mask every day, it should not be difficult for you at all. So don't let that stop you from going to Disney. Don't. Mobile ordering was preferred at most places. When Will and I got the blue milk, they didn't require mobile ordering, but they had the sign up that said use mobile ordering. So Will mobile ordered and just went and picked it up. It eliminates lines. So mobile ordering, use that on your Disney Experience app, mobile ordering, if you can. Yes, Will makes a good point. We did go sit in the stands at Animal Kingdom that are next to the Rivers of Light for a bit. We took our masks off, we ate some popcorn, and we chilled there. But again, the Animal Kingdom was more of a slower day, so we had time to sit down and relax. So mobile ordering, use that. You can also check into your dining reservations. If you have sit-down dining reservations, like we went to 50s Primetime, Oga's Cantina, you can check in to your reservation 15 to 20 minutes early on the app. And then you check in, it sends you a text message saying that you're in the line, and then when they're ready to call your name, you get another text message. So that eliminates waiting in line as well. So again, check. Some of them were 20 minutes, like Oga's Cantina was only 15 minutes. Prime time, I checked in 20 minutes early. So just make sure you know when you can check into your reservations. There was hand sanitizer and hand washing stations located throughout the parks. So they required you, most of the time the signs said, please use hand sanitizer before getting on rides and before getting on the buses or transportation systems. And then the hand washing stations, you just stepped on a little pump with your foot and it pumped water out. And they had soap there for you to wash your hands throughout the park. I utilized that a lot, especially after eating, just so I didn't have to go into the bathroom and touch anything. And so that really helped as well. I liked that those were there. All right, guys, would I go back to Disney during a pandemic? Yes, I would. In fact, Will and I have even talked about it. When are we going back next? Because we don't know when this pandemic's going to be over. We don't know when Disney's going to go back to normal. Would we go back? I would go back tomorrow. And again, like I said, I was totally against going with a face mask on. I was totally against the social distancing thing. I was like, this isn't Disney. It is Disney. Don't let it stop you. If you've been wondering, should I go? Should I go? Should I not? Should I cancel? Go. Now, if you have small children, it may be a little bit more difficult. That's why we left Wyatt at home. But do not let any of this slow you down. Go if you want to go. And this is true. It's always a good idea to touch as little as possible anyway in the parks, which is true. It is a precaution. And I take hand sanitizer and wipes with me anyway. So, I mean, that's a good point. I try not to touch things anyway. So I'm really glad we went. I'm super glad we did not cancel any reservations. We enjoyed our trip thoroughly. Was it even fun with no fireworks and nighttime shows? Absolutely. We had a blast. It was very weird leaving the parks when it wasn't dark, I will say, because Will and I, there's sometimes we're still in the parks at 1 a.m. So it was weird, but did we enjoy it? Yes. Would we do it tomorrow if we could? Yes. So don't let that slow you down. Honestly, I've seen the fireworks so much. We just left and I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about the nighttime shows. We just left the park when it closed and it wasn't even on our mind. We got more sleep too because of it. But we would do it again in a heartbeat. And I hope that if you have a trip planned, this helped you a lot. I know Resort TV One has put out a video as well. But again, don't let COVID stop you from enjoying Disney. Go. It was a blast. So if you have a trip planned, go. Keep your trip. I highly recommend going. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining in. This is our third coffee talk that we've had, What's Brewing with the Bones. So we loved our trip. We had so much fun. And if you have one planned, we hope that you have as much fun as we did. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring that bell. And enjoy your coffee this morning and your waffles or bagels or eggs, whatever you're eating. We hope to see you on Tuesday night for our normal Tuesday night stream. Welcome into anyone who's new. We really appreciate it. And hurry back. Bye, guys. Have a good Saturday.